Hello and welcome to the sideboard here at the Star City Games Invitational in Atlanta, Georgia. I am joined by Eric Rill. Eric has had success in both Standard and Legacy Opens in the past, and he is also a fellow Athens person.
Yeah.
And as you may or may not know, people from Athens, Ohio are very apt, and we have an affinity for blue decks.
Affinity for islands.
We're Spire
Golems.
We're Spire Golems in Athens, and you've brought Mono Blue Control back.
Yeah.
Very different, of course. A lot of cards that people might not be expecting a lot of, and perhaps a few notable absences as well. So tell me a little bit about where the genesis of your deck.
So it started with me and Chris Cronenberger. He kind of started the whole Athens Blue thing. He wanted an open with it way back when, with Mental Misstep and Jace and Energy Field. And we've had a bunch of different variations of the deck since then. I played one right after Misstep was banned. We cut Brainstorms for impulses and played Chalice of the Void, just screw your 1-drops. But and so this is the latest one. We had ones winning with Chimeric Mass before. After Abrupt Decay came, I kind of thought that Mono Blue was dead for a minute because it ruins the counterbalance plan and everything, and shackles and all that, and really hurts Energy Field. But with the format right now, Energy Field isn't that good in the main against most of the decks. It's blue-white decks, there's combo decks, there's Rug, Jund kind of decks, but all the Energy Field, the ones you want Energy Field, Merfolk, Goblin, Elves kind of matchups,
they're gone.
They're not really here so much. There's some random Elves.
Yeah, this doesn't really...
so we have a couple Energy Fields in the board now, but...
Right, over in the sideboard. And the main attraction for me, at least, when I played the deck, my one Legacy Open top 8, is because you hit these pressure points in the metagame. And at the time, it was Energy Field, alongside Back to Basics and Vidalcan Shackles.
Back to Basics is still good.
Yeah, Back to Basics is still very good. Vidalcan Shackles, a little less so, you only have one in the main deck. But the other cards that are sort of pressure points in the metagame right now are Talrand, the Sky Summoner, and Devastation Tide. I want to start with Talrand, because it avoids Abrupt Decay, and it does a pretty good job of avoiding Swords to Plowshares, which are the two main
it generally beats the Jace heads up in a fight. They play their Jace, you play your Talrand with a couple spells up, and then you're whatever they do, you're going to be able to make enough Drakes to kill it.
Now the other one that you have is Devastation Tide and also Curfew, both of which are non-targeted removal of cards that are in play. So they get rid of things like Emrakul.
They get rid of everything.
But they also get rid of Nimble Mongoose.
Yeah. So the point of all these cards then is we want to buy time to get to the late game where we have all these cards that are generally too slow for Legacy and don't see any play. But we're trying to slow the game down and get there and play all our islands so we can't get wastelanded. You can play around Stifle easily enough with fetches. And so we just play an island every turn, stop them from killing us.
Curfew in particular is really good with Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah, that's the main synergy is Curfew and Snapcaster, Curfew Click, Curfew to save your Talrand and make a Drake, and also early game just to keep the pressure off and allow you to stick a counterbalance top, which is game against some decks, Back to Basics, which is game against some decks, or Talrand with a bunch of spells, which wins against anyone.
Right. And now moving over to the sideboard, your sideboard, in terms of just looking at the numbers, it's very similar to things like Rug Delver or Bug Delver, which are a bunch of 1-ofs and a bunch of 2-ofs, but the actual choices are pretty interesting to people. We're going to go through a couple of them. Wurmcoil Engine.
It's for Jund. Historically, no Jund deck ever beats a Wurmcoil Engine.
Sure.
So
if you can survive to the point that you can play,
we can get to 6 lands, so
there you go. You also have a Factor Fiction, which I'm really excited to see.
I got to play it round 1. It was pretty sweet against Esper Stoneblade.
So it comes in against the sort of control-y other blue
the
decks.
control mirrors. It's just card advantage.
Sure.
Good spell. I mean, if you ever get to Factor Fiction with a Talrand in play,
sure.
Come on.
And the one that I think that most people have no idea what it is. A lot of people at this point know what Energy Field does. We've already talked about Back to Basics. Culling Scales is an interesting card.
That one I'm not still entirely sure that we needed it in the board or not, but I stuck with it. Chris had done some testing and found some games he was losing that they would just drain him out with a Deathrite Shaman or whatever. And they would get double Deathrite Shamans, and he would just be too far behind to bounce them all. And
it also does a good job of keeping things like Nimble Mongoose at bay.
Yeah.
It's just another answer.
Yeah, against Rug, like you play that, and there's a somewhat synergy with top in that if you have your permanents, you can protect them by you target your top every turn and then put it on top.
Sure.
So you can keep that out, and they can never get a threat.
Excellent. Well, this deck looks like a blast to play. It's exactly the kind of deck I want to be playing in Legacy. I mean, you've just got so many options.
It's got a lot of plans, and my opponents don't know any of them.
Right, that's the main thing about this deck is that nobody is expecting it, no one knows what to do about it. So you're already 2-0.
Starting off good.
Feeling good about this one?
Yeah.
You think that you can rattle off the rest? This is a Legacy top 8.
I know, I'm excited. Talrand's going to take it down.
All right, well, stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for joining me in the sideboard.
All right, thanks.